Good evening to you and thanks for joining us on this edition of the news for Tuesday this week. Before we get into the news, let's first of all get the headlines. After several years of suffering from poor roads, inhabitants of the Dumbe neighborhood in the town of Kribi have been relieved as their cries have been heard and the roads have been fixed. In this news, get their reactions to the new phase of the road. Would equally bring you to politics as Littoral Regional Councillors have begun equipping themselves for the better execution or proper execution of the first program budget. This with the assistance of the Ministry of Decentralization. These are the top stories in tonight's newscast. Get them in full as well as many other stories when we return shortly for the news in full. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the news for this Tuesday, the 6th of April 2021. I am Cynthia Ngwemo. Thanks for joining us. Like you heard on our headlines, regional councillors of the Littoral have today begun a workshop to help them prepare for the first program budget. This for 2 days, the regional executives would be schooled on the better elaboration, control, monitoring and execution of their budget. This is organized by the Ministry of Decentralization and Regional Planning. In the following report, Joy Ngong has the details.
Decentralization constitutes the backbone for democracy between the government and the local population. With the putting in place of the regional councils, power was bestowed on the executives to elaborate and freely vote their budget. However, the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development, in a bid to assist the regional authorities of the Littoral region in the preparation of their first program budget, organized a 2-day workshop to sensitize the regional executive on the elaboration, control, monitoring and execution of their budget.
Nous sommes conscients de ce que les responsables.
We are conscious of the fact that the authorities do not have the necessary knowledge to be able to elaborate the budget. Secondly, the budget is now elaborated following a program. It therefore necessitates a good mastery of modalities and standards required for this new budgetary exercise.
According to the president of the Littoral Regional Council, the workshop will help the councillors to possibly realize a great, long-lasting impact in the 3-year development projects of the region.
And this budget is a program budget for 3 years. It is the first budget we are going to build for the country. We don't know how to do. And the technicians of the government are here to go with us in this way, to lead us, to help us to do it.
The regional councillors in the 10 regions of the country will all benefit from the assistance of the government, which equally involves the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Economic Planning and Regional Development in the elaboration of their budgets, scheduled to run for a period of 3 years.
Over in Yaoundé, the newly appointed commander of the 1st Police Mobile Intervention Unit has officially been installed into his function. The 51-year-old police commissioner took office yesterday, April the 5th, at the courtyard of Yaoundé City Council. Details of the story with Ate Bonaventure.
51-year-old Ondwandi Marcelin Barthélemy officially takes office as commander of the 1st Mobile Intervention Unit of the Delegation for National Security in the Central Region. The Commissioner of Police was installed into his function this Monday by the Central Regional Delegate for National Security, Nga Didier.
Commissaire divisionnaire Ondwandi, prenez le commandement.
Mr. Ondwandi has been enjoined to make use of his rich professional experience to reinforce the different units of the national security and collaborate with local populations to resist organized crimes. He also has as challenge to organize timely interventions and controls to guard against unlawful manifestations and protect educational establishments. The new commander, before his appointment, had proven his worth at the Adamawa and Central Regional Delegations as Administrative Auxiliary and Coordinator of the Special Rapid Intervention Unit. Commissioner Marcelin Barthelemy was appointed to his new position on March 18 by presidential decree to replace Rachelin Ondo, who has been called up for other duties.
As you heard at the beginning of this newscast, inhabitants of Dumbe, that is a locality in the town of Kribi, are overwhelmed with the rehabilitation of their road, which had been causing untold hardship to them. That is for several years. They, however, hope that more of such works can be carried out within the town of Kribi. Let's get the full story with Rogeyatu Buba in the following report.
Here is Dombe, a locality in Kribi, where the road has undergone rehabilitation carried out by the new city council. The road had been in a deplorable state for the past years, making circulation difficult, amongst other challenges.
At first time, as you can see, there was hole everywhere, but right now, they have thrown the good drum that all of us, we are happy, we are so impressed. Even I myself that I'm walking beside here, I can greet even the Okada riders who are passing here, they don't have no problem with that. I'm so happy, I'm so impressed of what the government is doing. I'm so happy.
The degradation of the road was a main topic of discussion during the last session of the Kribi Urban Council meeting, where the mayor, Emmanuel Sabikanda, emphasized on finding solutions. The rehabilitation of the road has given the inhabitants of the Dombe community a great smile, though they also hope for more of similar projects to be carried out. If I may try to add, it's like a Karifukinge that the government would try to see what they would do there, like to fix the other ways around, to check around. If they do good things like what they have done here, all of us will be happy, we will look, at least things will look good, the town will look so nice, all of us will be happy. Thank you. The rehabilitation of the other road will also boost circulation in other activities with neighboring areas.
The scarcity of coins in circulation within Cameroon is and remains a major problem, which is even aggravated by gambling. Our reporter Nde Vanessa Shuyong visited some gambling spots in the city of Douala, which are said to be at the origin of this problem. And here is the report that she brought back for the news.
There is an unexplained scarcity of coins, notably 25, 50 and 100 in the economic capital Douala and other parts of the country. Smaller denominations of the currency are increasingly getting rare, but doesn't mean people no longer trade nor get richer. No official cause can be attributed to this, but many accusing fingers are pointing at the gambling industry. The slot machine, locally called Mumu, one who does not speak, has become a source to swallow these coins, leaving no access for daily users. It has affected a lot of transactions as bike riders, taxi drivers, traders and other public functions complain of the inability to properly carry out their duty due to lack of coins. This is the case with Gilbert, who has not been able to get many passengers in possession because of no change. The situation has created a lot of sentiment on people's mind, who attribute the cause to be the slot machine.
That thing where they don't put on from Boko for day, whether you call them say Mumu. Now you don't take on Boko and away all them places for Sansa, we know the G, we know you see them again.
She know they don't leave that machine where they call and say Mumu. Now you don't take all money for outside. We man let me so to make Okanda.
On the grounds of anonymity, one of the traders who is specialized in changing coins against a fee says it is a self-created job. The operators of the gambling machine seems not to be conscious of the inconveniences plaguing the circulation of these coins. Coins is small transaction and enables short distance movement. Its scarce nature has left a loophole in the minds of people of its whereabouts. Economic stakeholders are calling on the powers that be to put an end to this economic stalemate.
In Cameroon's National Assembly, the Parliamentary Network for the Promotion of Gender as well as Bilingualism have been planning on how to embark on an awareness campaign on the promotion of bilingualism within institutions. The conclaves were at the top of the National Assembly's discussions yesterday, Monday. Let's have details of this story with Ate Bonaventure.
Activities at the National Assembly this April 5 were devoted to the amendment of the statutes of the parliamentary networks for the promotion of bilingualism and multiculturalism and for the promotion of gender. According to Honorable Josephine Gimbop, the priority plan of the Network for Gender Promotion consists of raising the awareness of parliamentarians on the gender approach.
It is all about the women, fighting for the rights of our women, who are the backbone of our society. Every man came to being through a woman, and we're trying to make sure that this parliamentary network is to make sure that the rights of the royal woman, the woman in particular, is protected.
The Network for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, on her part, has laid the groundwork for a dense action plan to raise awareness and organize training seminars for the lawmakers.
Yeah, one of the things we want to do is, one, to ensure that MPs themselves are bilingual. They live bilingualism, and they ensure that their constituencies are transformed and the law is respected. The second thing we want to do is to make sure that we sensitize our population and our constituencies on the law on the promotion of both languages. But before we do that, I think that MPs have the right to visit various ministries.
The two networks intend to take up challenges of sensitizing in the field and giving content to the practice of bilingualism and the respect of the 30% quota of women in decision-making bodies.
The Lamido of Garoua, who is also the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Public Health, has been given a state funeral this Tuesday in the town of Garoua. Mange Venasius looks at his contributions to the nation and concludes in the following report that every honor that he received was but normal. Let's get his report.
Following a presidential decree signed Monday, 5th of April, 2021, instituting a state funeral in honor of Halim Hayatou, Secretary of State to the Ministry of Public Health, and Lamido of Garoua. At Garoua, the head of state, Paul Biya, represented by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malashi, and a number of government ministers, family, and friends turned out to pay their last homage to this illustrious son for his selfless and tireless service rendered to the nation. A service which dates back as far as 1996, when he was appointed Secretary of State at the Ministry of Public Health. Even before then, Garga Halim Hayatou served as the Director of Treasury at the Ministry of Finance, amongst others. He was a political figure and occupied the Pioneer Regional Assembly as a traditional ruler, given that he was also the Lamido of Garoua for 21 years. In political life, Halim Hayatou was seen during the election of the Regional Assembly. He was the eldest member of the Assembly and was the one who chaired deliberations pending the election of the Bureau. Added to this, he was the national president of Cameroon Traditional Rulers Association. All these incarnated on one man was but logical for the nation to give him a befitting burial, a sign of acknowledgement for his contribution to the progress of Cameroon, a country the 75-year-old Lamido has bequeathed to posterity.
We round up with news in Cameroon in sport. Cameroon has joined the international community to commemorate the Day of Sport for Peace and Development. The official ceremony at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex has been chaired by the National UNESCO Commission Professor Laurent Serge Etundi Ngoa. It is an opportunity to recognize the role that sports play in communities, in individuals' lives, in building resilience and in the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Activities in line with the event include a roundtable conference under the theme Sport as a Vector of Resilience in the COVID-19 Context for Sustainable Social Change. Activities equally involve demonstrations of sport disciplines in and out of Cameroon. That story about sports brought us to the end of news within Cameroon, and now we'll move on to our Africa Roundup page, which brings to us news out of Cameroon. In Niger, a prison break has led to the freedom of at least 1,800 prisoners after the prison was attacked by some gunmen in the southern part of the country. And in Sudan, a state of emergency has been declared after over 40 people were killed following conflicts between some ethnic groups in the country. Details of this with Rogea Tububa in the following.
Nigeria has experienced one of its largest jailbreaks, which involves more than 1,800 inmates after gunmen attacked a prison in the south of the country. According to reports, the attackers used explosives to make their way into the Owerri prison in the state of Imo before starting a gun battle with prison guards. No group has so far taken responsibility for the attack, but the region is known for being home to a number of separatist organizations. In a statement, the President Muhammadu Buhari described the attack as an act of terrorism and called on security forces to bring both the assailants and the escaped inmates into custody. Sudan has declared a state of emergency in West Darfur State following ethnic clashes that have left at least 40 dead and thousands of people displaced. The incident is the latest in a resurgence of violence in the region since the signing of a peace agreement late last year and the withdrawal of United Nations peacekeepers. Sudan's top security body, the Defense Council, late yesterday deployed troops to the region. The vast Darfur region was ravaged by a civil war that erupted in 2003, leaving around 300,000 people dead and 2.5 million displaced. Sudan is in the midst of a rocky transitional period following the toppling of longtime ruler Umar el-Bashir in April 2019.
That was our package for today's edition of the news on DBS Television with me, Cynthia Ngwemo. Thanks very much for watching. I do hope to see you when we return tomorrow for a fresh edition. For now, good night. See you tomorrow.